In this video, we are going to see 7 amazing chess traps for black in the Caro-Kann defense. So let's get started. So after e4, here you play c6. And this is the Caro-Kann defense. He goes d4, then you play d5. And after he goes knight to c3, you just capture this pawn. He recaptures, then you go for knight to f6, offering a trade of knights. He takes, then you recapture. This is a Tartakova variation. Then here he goes bishop to c4, developing his bishop. Then you play queen to e7 check. And yet, you don't want to block with the queen because you can just take. So he plays knight to e2, also preparing to castle. But actually you can just play queen to b4 check, working the king and the bishop. And then you will just grab the bishop and you are winning. Let's move on to the next trap. So after e4, here you play c6 and after that he goes c4 here. This is called the Panov attack. And here you go for d5, he takes, then you take, and after he takes, then you're going to play knight to f6, putting pressure on this pawn. Bishop b5 check, then you block with the bishop, and after that he goes bishop c4, defending this pawn. Then you go for queen to c7, hitting this bishop, so queen b3 defends the bishop. But then you have b5, and now here he can't do much. So here after he takes this pawn, you're going to just take this bishop, and you're up a piece and winning. Let's move on to the next trap. So after e4 c6 d4 d5, here he goes knight c3, then you take, and after he takes, here you go for knight f6, knight g3, because you don't want to trade the knight. But then you have h5, threatening to attack the knight. Bishop g5 puts pressure on this knight. Then h4, and here instead of retreating this knight back, he plays bishop takes f6, and in between move. Well, then you're not going to capture the bishop. Instead, you are going to play h takes g3, capturing his knight. Then here he goes bishop e5. Then you have rook takes h2, sacrificing the rook. And after he takes, now here if you take here, attacking the knight, well then you can take with the bishop. And now we are back to equal. Instead, we are going to play queen to a5 check, hitting this king and the bishop, which is attacking this pawn. So after he plays something like say c3, you are going to sack the queen for the bishop, and after he takes, you just take the rook, and now no one can stop you from promotion, and you end up with an extra piece. Let's move on to the next trap. So after e4, c6, d4, d5, he goes knight c3, then you take, and after he takes, you go knight f6. He takes here, then you recapture with the e pawn, and after bishop c4, you again play queen e7 check. And here he plays queen to e2, offering a trade of queens. But instead of capturing the queen, you are going to play bishop e6. That sets up another trap. First of all, if he takes, then you can take with the pawn and continue the game. But if he plays something like say bishop e3, preparing to castle, then you have queen to b4 check, hitting this bishop and the king. And then after he blocks with the bishop, as you can see, there are two attackers on this bishop. So you can simply take this, and after he takes, you will take, and you're up by a bishop. Let's move on to the next trap. So after e4 c6, d4 d5, knight c3, here you just take, and after he takes, you go bishop f5, attacking the knight, knight g3, hits the bishop back, so bishop g6, then he plays knight to e2, then you go knight f6, and after knight f4, trying to trade the bishop or the knight, we just play knight b7. In any case, he takes, you will recapture with the h pawn, opening up the rook, but he plays h4, threatening to play h5. Well, you don't care and play e5, striking in the center. He takes, then you take with the knight. Here, if you trade queens, then you will take with the rook like this. And when he attacks the bishop, you can simply go here. And after he takes, you can take. And this is quite better for black here. But what if you place queen to e2, pinning your knight to the king? Well then, you can just play queen to e7 and pinning the knight. h5 seems like it traps the bishop. But then you have bishop takes f2, sacrificing the bishop. He takes the free bishop, but then knight to f3 is a double check. So king d1 and then queen to e1 is a checkmate. Let's move on to the next trap. So after e4, c6, knight to f3, d5, he goes knight c3, then you go for bishop g4. He goes h3, hitting this bishop. Then you can just play bishop takes knight, he takes, then e6. And as you can see, you have quite a good pawn structure here. d3 opens the bishop, then you play bishop b4, pinning his knight. Queen g3 hits the pawn, as the bishop lefts the defense of this pawn. Well, then you have knight f6. This is quite a tricky move here. Capturing the pawn seems like a natural response, but then rook g8 hits the queen. Queen goes back, then you play d4, attacking the knight. So you place a3, counter attacking the bishop. But then bishop f8 is an attack on the queen and the knight at the same time. He can't do much, so you save the queen, but then you will take the knight and you end up with an extra piece. Let's move on to the next trap. So here, after e4 c6, d4 d5, here he goes for e5, the advanced variation. Then you play bishop f5, developing the bishop, bishop d3, offers a trade of bishops. And then you can just take, then after he takes, e6 solidifies the center. Then he goes knight e2 or knight f3, doesn't matter, preparing to castle. Then you have c5, attacking this pawn. c3 defends the pawn. Knight e7, trying to move the knight here or here. Here he went queen b5 check, attacking this pawn and this pawn. Well, that was the trap that we have set here. Then you block with the queen, and after he captures this pawn, you play knight f5 with counter attack on the queen. Queen a5 only saves square for the queen, but then b6 traps the queen. So if you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give this video a like. And if you don't want to miss the upcoming videos, then don't forget to subscribe.